Hello, my name is Emily. I'm a social worker. Is it okay if I take your hand?
Yeah.
What's your name?
Gabby.
Hi, Gabby. It's nice that you came to see me. So, before we get started, have you ever come to seek services?
I actually haven't, no.
Okay. So a little bit of like what I do is like we'll get into like why you're here today, and I'll just listen to you and kind of offer you any like constructive feedback and kind of help you like navigate through your own thoughts. Does that
Cool.
sound okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So and then also if you need any kind of resources that come up while we're talking, I can also direct you to find those. Okay.
Okay. Cool.
Okay. So a little bit about confidentiality. So everything that you say in here is completely confidential, and unless, of course, you tell me that you know someone who's being hurt, like abused, like a child, elderly person, someone with any kind of disabilities, if you want to hurt yourself or others, then I would have to let my supervisor know. But if you do share anything like that with me, it is to better you and to better another person if they're the ones that are a victim of some kind of abuse or neglect. Okay?
Okay.
So, but anything that you say here is confidential, and also like we support you.
Awesome.
Okay?
Thank you.
So, I want to know, Gabby, why you've come to see me today.
I've just been kind of like dealing with like grief and everything in the past kind of year and a half ish of kind of my life, and it's, I don't know, because I know grief is like a process and it's never really like something that you get over, like, but just kind of like learning to live with it can be like hard sometimes, especially whenever life can be has like its own like stresses that are always kind of coming up, and yeah.
Okay. So, you're right, grief is very difficult to go through. And can you tell me who, or if there were multiple people that you've lost?
So my grandma was 100% like the most important person in my life, and is still. But and she was like my third parent, and so 100% she's like a saint now, like watching down on me and stuff. But the way she just like knew me like before I knew myself, and the way like she treated everyone else, like she was just such like a wonderful person. And kind of the way that she died was like from dementia. And so I feel like it would have been different if it was from like a heart attack or something that was kind of, I don't know, but just like seeing her lose like her ability to like function and do things, because she was doing things for everyone like all the time, like for her whole life, like willingly, not that she had to or anything or that it was expected, but that she wanted to help out and do stuff for people. And then so seeing her kind of like deteriorate, not just like physically but like mentally too, it was kind of a lot, because sometimes you would come and she wouldn't really remember everyone, but me and her always had like a really like special connection. And so she would always like remember me whenever I came, and we, in a way, I would kind of like get her like present is to play like Willie Nelson songs, because she loves Willie Nelson, and she's like, "That's my Willie." But I'll play like "On the Road Again" and "Always on My Mind." And she would like sing like the chorus to them and stuff, and so just like even like as it like progressed, the dementia and everything, she would still like remember those like words and everything, and it was just kind of like she like still hear like a little bit, but yeah, it was kind of her like doing so much like for you and for everyone like she came encounter with, and how that completely changed. And just like, because I felt like I needed to be there for her then, and although that was hard on me, and I haven't really like gotten through like a lot of those things, I'm glad that I was there for her, and that in her kind of like final like months and weeks and everything, like she could have a face of a loved one who was really like there to try and help.
It sounds like your grandma was a very beautiful woman, and she left a very strong impression on you.
Yeah.
And
got her words like tattooed on me. It says like I love you and then this much, because whenever we left like her house or anything, she'd be like, I love you this much, and she'd open her arms super big, and then and yeah, so
that's sweet. That's such a beautiful memory. So it's hard going through that and losing someone that was very close to our heart, and then now all you have left is the memory of her, even though they sound like they're very beautiful memories and very meaningful memories. So whenever you were going through that, whenever her mind was deteriorating because of the dementia, who else was surrounding you and kind of helping you through that time?
So I would go over there a lot, and like one of my aunts would go and like help, because she lived rather close, and she also really helped out a lot taking care of like my grandpa whenever he passed away. And so she was there too, and she would say like, I read this book on dementia, and like I recommend it, like it really gave me kind of like more like just like scientific like knowledge about dementia like in general. And she felt like when she really like understood that, she would be like, okay, that's why mom's acting like this and stuff. But so she was there a lot. And my dad really, because me and my dad are very we can be very vulnerable with each other, and so sometimes he would just break down, like going to visit her and stuff, and we kind of talk about it, and it's like, I don't know, it's kind of, we're both kind of just like processing everything, but like in different ways, and kind of, I don't know, because I mean, we were like living with her whenever she had like the first stages of like showing signs of dementia, and I don't know, and I feel bad now, because at the time I had no idea like what was going on, and so I would sometimes get like a little frustrated with her. I'd be like, Grandma, what? Like, you already told me this. Like, no, like I already told you like I'm doing this, and I was just like, I don't want to go back and like take it all back and be like, oh my gosh, no, but I can't do that. And I feel like my dad has kind of like similar things like that, where we didn't know what was going on, so like a part of it, like, yeah, like we can't like really like put all the blame on ourselves, but then again, like it still happened, and that still kind of like felt like it was our fault, that, you know, yeah.
And it was your fault that exactly what happened?
That, I don't know, because I mean, it would have progressed like the same rate and everything regardless, but it was just like that she didn't have like a support kind of like system. And although we were there and trying to like keep her safe and everything, it's kind of like maybe she felt like she couldn't like communicate to us like what was going on, because sometimes we get a little, like kind of frustrated. But I don't know, because I feel like maybe she also had to feel like the strong kind of character to be like, no, like I'm fine, I can still do like everything that I'm used to doing. But I don't know, I just wish, I don't know, because I used to talk to her a lot all the time too, and I'd ask her about everything, about like every part of her life, like in childhood and now, and I don't know, yeah, I kind of just wish I did more in that area.
And was that the first time that as a family someone had been diagnosed with dementia? Okay.
Yeah.
And then how long ago did your grandpa pass away?
He passed away like a year before my grandma did. Like a year and a half before she did.
Okay.
And so I feel like her like dementia was caused kind of by like also a lot of the stress. Well, I feel like it like progressed rapidly because of all of the stress that went along with like my grandpa's death, because like they had their problems and stuff, but like she was like stuck by that man, like for sure. And you know, like you have that person with you for like 65 years and all of a sudden like they're not there. Like that's a lot to go through. And I don't know. And we were all there for like my grandma and everything through that, and for each other, of course. But it's like there's still like an amount of stress that really just got to her.
And that's very understandable because, like you said, they were together for like 60 plus years, and that's a long time to be with somebody.
Yeah.
And so that is difficult. But it sounds like, from everything that you're telling me, that your family is very much so involved with taking care of each other. Is that how it is?
Yeah, it is. It's because I mean, my grandparents, they had 7 kids, so it's like some of them better help out. But yeah, there's like a main kind of like cohort of the kids who like kind of take care of each other and try to take care of like their parents and the house and just kind of like what's going on.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's really good to hear. That makes me happy.
Yeah.
And then how long ago did your grandma pass away?
And she passed away April of last year, so it was like 2018.
Okay.
Yeah.
And since then, have you and your dad and your aunt and everyone else that was involved in her care been able to talk about like your feelings of missing her?
Oh yeah, we talk about how much we miss her all the time, and it's kind of just like reminiscing in like the past, and it's like, remember mom, like when she did this and everything, and kind of like I try to keep like as many like just things that like she had, because I want to still have that like connection. I want to like feel that connection to her like still, but I don't know, because I feel like we talk about it. I mean, we all like showed like our grief like in that like moment whenever she like died and everything. But it's kind of like we don't really talk about how we felt like afterwards, and like because I know for me personally, like I went into like this state of like depression, and I didn't want to get out of bed, and because I couldn't, I was like, well, what's the point of like living in this world like when she's not there? And like I know like she's gonna get old like at some point and kind of like die through that, but I didn't think it would happen the way it did. I didn't think I would see or like have to like do the things that I did, like to be there for her. And yeah, and just like so like dealing with that, and kind of like what happened like after the initial state of like grief and loss, and kind of like how it affected like my life afterwards, and now like my like new trajectory like in life, and like how I take on like living like now and everything.
Yes.
I feel like that's something like we don't really talk about unless it's like at like Christmas or Thanksgiving, and we have like a picture of her standing up or something.
Okay. And can you give me an example of how y'all don't really talk about like your new trajectory, or just give me a little bit more insight into what you meant by that, so that I understand too.
Yeah. So it's like, because before my grandma died and everything, I was on, like for me personally, I was on this path of like, okay, like I'm gonna go to school, I'm gonna be a doctor, I'm gonna become like a neurologist or something, and then I don't know. I mean, I saw the signs of like, no, I don't want to be a doctor, kind of like through college and stuff, and saying like, I love science and I love helping people, but the constraints of like the medical system, I wouldn't be happy. But I kind of just wanted to like ignore it and push through, because like my family was kind of like, yeah, Gabby, like you can do it, you're great, and I kind of wanted to uphold that. But then after she passed away, I was like, what's the point? Like nothing, like I don't care. Like I won't even be able to really do what I want to do, even if I like make it and pass these classes. And I remember like trying to like talk to like my STEM professors and be like, hey, like this happened, and they'd be like, okay, a lot, and then they say like a lot of grandmas die like around this time of the semester, and I'm like, okay, got it, thanks. And there was no real like support like there either. But then, so after that, I mean, and I had been wanting to be a doctor for my entire life pretty much. And then so coming to that realization where it's like I can't be in this field, like not like the field of medicine, but like a physician, and in this kind of like environment where it's like you're just a number and it's you have to work until like you're a robot and just kind of like that. It was like I kind of like broke down and I was like, oh my gosh, like no, like I can't do this. And I was scared to like talk to like my parents and like my family about it because they had known me for like going on this thing for so long. And I don't know, eventually I told my dad, and it was kind of just like I was beating around the bush for like a long time, and then I told him, and he's like, well, that's okay, like but I didn't tell him how like it also like directly kind of like what like made me realize everything was kind of like grandma, like my grandma dying and everything and going through that and everything. But I mean, I guess I should kind of talk to him again and stuff.
And are you happy with where you're at right now with your academic?
Yeah, like I love the stuff that I'm learning now. I feel more like passionate about it. I feel like there's less constraints on like what I'm able to do to actually help people, and like that's all I wanted to do. Like I want to advocate for people who like don't have what I have, or you know, in any type of way, and specifically like in the medical field and everything surrounding like health. But yeah, no, now like I love this kind of like new trajectory, and I'm glad that like I have like found this kind of pathway and everything. But it was just a lot to get here to this kind of like, yeah.
And I understand transitions are hard, and going from one major to another or a different field, those transitions are difficult.
Yeah.
And I'm glad too that you're happy with where you're at now, and you seem very happy about it. Like your face lit up. It sounds like you're very compassionate about helping other people, and that's very beautiful.
Yeah.
I do have one last question though before we kind of close off, because we do have 2 minutes left. It's whenever you told me that your STEM professors were not very supportive of what was going on.
Yeah.
Did you find support in other ways, or?
Yeah. So it was mostly in like family or friends that I found that support, and then like later once I transitioned kind of like out of like the STEM like college and more into like my COLA classes and everything, and I was able to kind of speak to like the professors in COLA. It was like, oh my gosh, these people really care about me. It's like I have a sick day and like they're so like compassionate and worried about like how I'm doing and if I'm going to be able to get my things in on time and extensions and everything. I'm like, that's like people to people, like a connection. Like that's what I need. That's what everyone needs, really. And I was just like, yeah, I'm happy with this like new thing, this new kind of trajectory. And I'm glad that there was like a support system that I had found. But
that's good. That makes me happy to know that you have found a support system, and that you do feel that in your new academic track that you are supported by your peers and your professors and anyone else who is in that environment. So what I'm going to do too is give you some like a pamphlet for the CMHC on campus, so that if you're ever having like a crisis or anything, there's a telephone line. Then also you can come to walk-ins. And does this time next week work for you as well?
Yes.
Okay. So here's your pamphlet.
Thank you.
And I really enjoyed our meeting today. It was really nice to to hear you talk about your grandma.
Mm-hmm.
And grief is very difficult. So, but we'll work through that together. I look forward to seeing you next week at the same time.
I look forward to our meetings too.
Thanks. Bye, Gabby.
Bye.